Under California law, both parents have a financial responsibility to take care of their minor children and ensure that their physical needs are being taken care of. The theory is that the children should enjoy the same standard of living in both parents' households. So toward that end, there is a formula that is used by law in order to ensure the equity of that. And so the formula is weighted basically upon the disparity in income between parents. So if one parent is a higher income earner and one is a lower income earner, then presumptively the higher income earner is going to pay something toward the lower income earner to help boost that standard of living in that secondary or lower income household to make sure that it's equal for the children. But it also is based upon a timeshare between the parents, because if children are with mom 5 days a week and with dad 2 days a week, then mom is going to have a lot more expenses in taking care of the children. There's more clothes to buy, there's more food to buy, there are more utilities to pay for, there may be a bigger living space that's necessary, and so forth. So in the context of child care, or child support, it is a factor of timeshare, it's a factor of income, it's a factor of how many children are involved, and then indirectly, the way the formula works is calculations are taken from gross income of the parties, but ultimately we try to determine what the actual net spendable income is after taxes are paid. So we deduct out of income certain things that can affect taxes and then determine what's left over, and then that's what's really used to calculate support. So it's not really a linear formula. It's not really something that can easily be estimated off of the top of a person's head. We really have to have pay stubs, and we have to use accurate data in order to determine support. Under California law, we do have a separate independent agency that is designed to help people enforce child support payments. It can help people get, excuse me, child support orders. The Department of Child Support Services is available in every county, and we have access to their resources when necessary. And they do a pretty good job. The big dispute that I often see with child support orders is that not so much the applicability of the formula, because law is pretty clear that there is a formula, but it's disagreement over the data used to input into the formula in order to determine what the output amount is. People don't always calculate their income correctly. There may be questions over bonus income. If a bonus is paid normally every year, but it's not guaranteed, how do we deal with that? Should we include it? Should we not include it? Should it be averaged in so that it's paid monthly, or should it be reported when the bonus is paid and paid as a single lump sum payment once a year or quarterly, or however the bonus is paid? How do we deal with overtime? One of the challenges that we face is, one parent may work an extensive amount of overtime while the marriage is intact, because the goal and objective of the family is based upon certain financial objectives, but those objectives may be very different if the family unit breaks up. There may be career objectives that are completely different. A person may pursue a particular career path because it has certain benefits that are helpful to the family, but that's not a person's real dream. And so when the family unit breaks up, they may want to pursue something that is not as lucrative. So the question then becomes, are these changes in income, maybe the reduction in overtime or the career change, is that motivated by an attempt to artificially manipulate the amount of child support that should be paid? Or is it a real sincere heart of somebody who's decided that now that the family isn't in the same situation as it was, I don't really have the need or the ability or the desire or the want to work overtime or to work in a 60-hour-a-week career, and I want to do something that allows me more time to spend with my kids. So it's a lot of subjective analysis that is based upon the intent of what's going on. The numbers are what the numbers are, and sometimes, often, those numbers are really indisputable because there's usually a paper trail that we can track. But the question is that paper trail based upon a good intent or a bad intent? And if we have somebody who really is doing something to artificially lower their income in order to get a lower support with the objective of getting out of court later and going back to the way it was before, and taking advantage of the system, then those are things that everybody needs to be aware of and cognizant of. And so credibility is very important. Reporting information to the court accurately is very important. Even a mistake made in a declaration to the court over income or assets or things like that can regardless, if it was just an oversight, can really sometimes impair a person's credibility. So it's incredibly important that a great deal of attention and detail is paid to information that's reported to the court. So if the question is asked, well, why has your income changed? Why is it lower than it was? That the information that's given to the court can be supported by accurate paperwork, so that there's not an open door for somebody to allege that there's been something hidden on purpose, even if it wasn't. One of the biggest challenges that we see with regard to child support, again, the formula is what the formula is, but when we're dealing with people that have the ability to earn cash in a cash-based business of some type, and that cash can be concealed, that's very difficult. It's almost impossible, and in many cases is impossible to prove. People that do handyman work, construction work, house cleaning work. I have cases where people do illegal or maybe even legal substance sales, marijuana sales, things like that, and those are cash-based businesses, and it's on one side or the other. Unless somebody's going to be tracked with a surveillance 24 hours a day, basically without bank deposits or records or receipts, it can be challenging to prove. So indirectly, what do? We can look at the lifestyle that the family enjoyed. We can look at the things that they purchased, their vacations, the type of house that they lived in, the type of cars that they drove, and compare that to where we are today. And if that person is still in the same cash-based business, then we have a basis to at least make an argument that what's being reported may not really be accurate, because it would be impossible to support the lifestyle that was based upon the current income that they're claiming is. So there is a lot of, even though child support is a seemingly direct, simple thing, the formula is what it is. The complexity of child support is complex, because all of what comes out of the formula is dependent upon the data that goes in, and the data that goes in has to be accurate. And if it's not accurate, we have to be able to prove with evidence what the reality is, so that the correct support order is made, so that the kids are taken care of.